Oh, gracious me, guys. I decided to go with an old picture of me for my thumbnail, and I realized I look really goofy in it. But anyway, welcome to Mystery Mondays. Please subscribe, hit your like button, and as always, feel free to comment. My concentration today will be on the more recent case of Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner. However, before I discuss their case, I want to talk briefly about the Peacock documentary about the Gabby Petito case. I do not pay for Peacock Premium, so I have not been able to watch the documentary myself yet. But there are some stories and forums posted about the documentary. The only new information that I saw from those was that uh, Gabby's parents did not ever notice any red flags, signs of danger from Brian Laundrie. Although her mom has been quoted numerous times as saying she told Gabby not to trust anyone on their trip, and many said that included Brian, it appears the few that reported she, however, thought Brian was the one person her daughter could trust on their trip were correct. Remember, we still have no idea what actually happened in this case. I feel like only Gabby and the person that killed her, or perhaps if it wasn't Brian, Gabby, the person that killed her and Brian, might all know. Um, my son and I were actually discussing her best friend who claims that a fellow TikToker proved that she was in Florida at the time that it happened. But I don't know. She claims she was supposed to be meeting Brian and Gabby for her birthday, which ironically was possibly the day before Gabby got killed, or the day she did get killed. Who knows? But anyway, enough of that. Um, So yeah, we don't know what actually happened. There are only two or three probably people who do know what actually happened. There is still a possibility that Brian did take a hike by himself and either returned and found her dead, or returned and could not locate her and still, I'm sorry, returned and could not locate her. Perhaps he started driving to look for her and still couldn't find her, so he returned home, hoping that she would be there. Um, I'd love to see their cell phone records, wouldn't you guys? I'd love to see both Gabby and Brian's cell phone records. I understand that the phones, I don't believe, were either of them. I don't believe were found with their bodies, which to me is another. I mean, he left his at home, but hers should have been there or at his home, and it doesn't seem that it was. So to me, that's really suspicious, unless he chunked it in the river or something like that. Um, but yeah, maybe he called and texted her, but got no response from her. Called and texted repeatedly because he couldn't find her, and perhaps he thought that she had gone to her parents', that she had called someone or hitchhiked or something and got a ride because they had got into an altercation again, of some type. And so perhaps, she went on a, or perhaps he thought that she had either gone back to Florida or had gone to her parents' home. And he was calling her and texting her, trying to get a hold of her, but he got no response and simply thought that she was done with him. And that could have been enough to make him commit suicide, even if he did not kill her himself. There have been people who have committed suicide over far less than that, trust me. Um, of course, it's also very possible he did get extremely angry with Gabby and kill her, leave her body at their campsite, and drive back home only to commit suicide several days later. So, this new information that I found concerning the potential new information, I will call it, concerning the Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner case got me to thinking, like I was trying to remember the timeline for Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito's trip, right? So, according to her Instagram, the timeline basically is July the 8th. Gabby and Brian were in Colorado at Colorado Springs, and by July the 16th, they were in Utah. That's not necessarily true. She said that they were leaving Colorado on the 11th. She first posted pictures from Utah on the 16th, but we know that she was not really regularly posting the pictures. So they were in Kansas on July the 4th. And so they may have been in these places a little bit earlier, a little bit later. Well, not really later, but a little bit earlier than the timeline allows for. So I was looking into there's a county where some guns were stolen in Colorado. And so I was looking into like where they went and whether they would have traveled through that county just out of curiosity. And I discovered that they were in Colorado Springs, which is in I have trouble saying L anymore. I don't know why. They were in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is in El Paso County, Colorado. And they also visited the Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve. Which is it lies between two different, I am so sorry. It lies between two different counties, which are Alamosa and Sagachi, I believe is how you say it, counties within Colorado. So when they were in Colorado, the next place that they went was the Zion National Park in Utah, which is where she posted pictures from on the 16th. So to get to Zion National Park, Utah, from the Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve in Colorado, which was the last one they visited there, would have been like a 10.5 to 11.5 hour drive if you did it all in one shebang, They may have stopped at another park or two between there. There's some really nice parks in Colorado in this county where these guns were stolen. But so assuming that they drove directly from, I'm not saying not without stopping, but directly from the Great Sand Dunes National Park to Zion National Park, taking the fastest route, they had to travel right through Montezuma County, Colorado, which sadly brings me to Kylen and Crystal's case, and one of my neighbors is smoking cigarettes. Again, we're not supposed to do that in our homes, but I can smell it. Oh, my son's asleep. I know it's not him. But anyway, according to, According to the December 1st news story posted by KSL.com, which tells news for Utah, it's a website that tells news for Utah, a verified tip that came into Kylen's dad's tip booth found, quote, some weapons were stolen in Montezuma County, Colorado, just a couple of weeks before the murders that occurred on 8/13/2021. Now, we don't know for certain that is when the murders occurred. We know that's when they were last seen. I'm talking about Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner now. So, end quote. Sorry. The date was the end of the quote. So I'm not saying, as I think I already said, that Gabby or Brian murdered Crystal and Kylen. A lot of people speculated that he perhaps had murdered them. I'm just saying that it's ironic. They most likely traveled through the county in which the weapons were stolen, that it's possible one of these weapons was used in the murder of Crystal Turner and Kylen Schulte. Per Gabby's Instagram page, it appears she and Brian planned to leave Colorado on July the 11th or 12th. She posted the pictures on the 11th and said, "Goodbye, Colorado, hello, Utah." But yeah, so if they were there fairly late in the day, they might have stayed the night there still and went, left on the 12th. And these weapons seem to have been stolen, I said, around July the 30th. So then I went into research mode again, because that's what I do. And did several college classes, and research is part of what I do. So yes, according to the Montezuma County, Colorado Sheriff's Office blotter, they have a police station one and a sheriff's office one, and I looked at both of them. On Monday, July the 19th, 2021, at 7:27 a.m., a truck was vandalized and a residence was burglarized. Several firearms, along with money, were stolen from the residence. To me, that says one thing, which I'm going to say here in a minute. You probably already know it. But anyway, excuse me, I've got the belches. Eat some chocolate. Anyway, one of these firearms is possibly a match to, quote, unusual bullet casings, end quote, which were found where Kylen and Crystal were camping, which is also the location where their bodies were found. It seems the majority of people who visit national parks, which I'm sure everyone has noticed this, they tend to visit multiple ones in the same trip. My little sister did that when she went and visited national parks. So the person or people who stole the firearms may have been traveling to various national parks and decided to rob this home and vandalize the truck. Like maybe they decided to vandalize the truck to make it look like it was someone that had a beef with this person, decided to burglarize the house, see what they could find because maybe they were running short on money or something. Or perhaps that's just what they do. There are people that just do that sort of stuff. However, it seems far more likely to me that whoever committed these crimes knew their victim and therefore had knowledge the money and firearms were in that particular home. So I feel like the person who the items were stolen from should have at least an inkling, like should have a list of suspects that they could give the Montezuma County Colorado Sheriff's Office and be like, these are the people that I feel like these people knew that I have guns in my home and that I have money. And so I feel like they're probably ones were involved in this, right? And then so maybe those people were also involved in Kylen and Crystal's murder, or perhaps that person sold the person who did the burglary, perhaps sold the weapon to the person who did it. And, if that's the case, like, hey, I broke into this person's house and yeah, it's bad that I did this burglary and this vehicle vandalism, but I don't want to go down for these 2 murders. So I'm going to tell you that I stole this stuff and I sold the weapon to this other person. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to go down for 2 murders if I burglarized a house and vandalized a pickup and didn't commit the murders myself, Anyway, so yeah, I feel like the person who got robbed and got their vehicle vandalized does know the person who vandalized their vehicle and stole the weapons from them as well as the money, because I feel like they had prior knowledge that that stuff was there. If someone working for them or a family member, supposed friend, acquaintance, something like that. Maybe even a cable guy, internet guy, something like that. The stolen firearm that may match. Did I just skip a bunch of this? I think I did. No. Still seems like I did, though. No, I didn't. But anyway. Oh, yes, I did. I guess that I have already said one of these firearms is possibly a match to, quote, unusual bullet casings, end quote, which were found where Kylen and Crystal were camping, which is the location where their bodies were found. I did already say that, but this is connected to that, so it was important to repeat it realistically. The stolen firearm that may match the 4 unusual casings is said to be pretty unique, so hopefully this information can help resolve their case and put their killer or killers behind bars soon. Sean-Paul Schulte, which is Kylen's dad, I believe he has been in Moab pretty much since the murders were committed and has been working strenuously in an attempt to resolve this case. He's been assisting the police and FBI any way he can. He set up a tip booth, which is how they found out about these weapons being stolen in Colorado. So, he said a silver-colored 9mm bullet was found at the scene, and this bullet is, quote, a very specific ammo. And now I was looking on the internet to try and figure out how unique this silver colored bullet might possibly be. And I discovered that there is a company that is called Werewolf Ammo who actually makes silver bullets. Yep, that's right. They fill their bullets with silver and coat them with silver, so if you encounter a werewolf, you can kill it. Yeah. Anyway, that's a little wacky. But this one just said it was silver colored. It did not say the bullet itself was silver. According to an incident report from Montezuma County, Colorado Sheriff's Office, a 9mm Turkish-made pistol, a Turkish-made shotgun, and a bolt-action hunting rifle were stolen. This is per the KLS. Did I confuse my letters around now? KSL.com article. So they got access to an incident report from the Montezuma County Sheriff's Office in Colorado, which, as I said, stated that a 9mm Turkish-made pistol, a Turkish-made shotgun, and a bolt-action hunting rifle were stolen. Now, bolt-action hunting rifle is not that rare. I believe I already said that the bullet that was found was a 9mm silver-colored bullet. But yeah, so I'm thinking it's the 9mm Turkish-made pistol that they're thinking maybe connected to these unique bullet casings, and I'm guessing that the bullet itself that they found there is also unique, most likely. The article by I wrote the wrong. Oh no, I didn't. Anyway, the article by KSL.com doesn't mention the date of the incident report, however, or of the incident report. However, my research only showed the one time between July 12th and August the 14th, 2021, that firearms had been reported stolen within that county. And that date again was July the 19th, which is well beyond the time that Gabby and Brian, would have been in the Montezuma County, Colorado area, assuming they did travel through there, because there's a route that they could take, the longer one that would not even go through there. I will now quote directly from Mr. Schulte, as these words of his are extremely important in my opinion. He said, "We need someone to say, hey, I remember a creepy guy trying to sell a gun," because remember Kylen had said there was a creepy dude hanging around. Any 9mm that was lost, stolen, hawked, that means pawned in case you don't know, or if anyone knows of anyone who tried to sell a suspicious 9mm gun. And by suspicious, I'm guessing he means like a really unique one. And then he also said, we just really have to get lucky on trying to find that murder weapon, end quote. Excuse me. He wants people who knew Crystal and Kylen to recall who the girls, as he affectionately calls them, were to those around them. Mr. Schulte also said, "We don't want this tragedy to bring other people down. We want them to lift up. We want them to remember how bright the girls' love light shined." And I thought that was just beautiful, how bright their love light shined. It does seem like they were truly wonderful women, and I can't believe that somebody just did what they did to them. Anyone with information connected to Kylen Schulte and Crystal Turner's homicide case needs to call the Grand County Sheriff's Office at 435-259-8115, and the numbers are in the description for my vlog, and it says important phone numbers, and I believe they're listed in the order that I'm going to give them to you. Or contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI, and I don't know if there's anywhere where you still have to put the 1 if you're calling from a landline. Possibly you do. Cell phone, most likely you don't. And the actual number for that is 800-225-5324. And again, as I said, these numbers are in the description for the video. Sean-Paul Schulte has also hired a private investigator, whose name is Jason K. Jensen, to assist with the case. Schulte is interested in learning more about the stolen 9mm gun and the possibility of it being used in the murders. He is also looking for any vehicles that were seen. Now, the article said that were seen coming off of this road, but I'm saying I think he should be interested in any vehicles that were seen coming off of or going on to Forestry Road 4651 in the LaSalle Mountains around the time of the murder. That's the road that their campsite was found, where they were found. If you have any tips, you can also call the private investigator, Jason K. Jensen, at 801-759-2248. And again, that number is in the description of the video. There is a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or people who committed this atrocity. This reward, I believe, is being offered by a local business person in Moab, Utah, which was where the murders occurred. As a reminder, Crystal and Kylen were reported to have last been seen leaving Woody's Tavern in Moab, Utah, between 9 and 9:30 p.m. on August 13th, 2021. And I thought it was interesting. I checked a couple of different sources on that because I was pretty sure that I had seen before that they had left at around 11:30 and then went to a friend's house after they went to the tavern and left the friend's house around 12:30 or 1 a.m., which would have actually been on the 14th. So I was like, well, they were definitely alive on the 14th. But I think that was misconstrued. I think that where the friends came in was that they were hanging out with the friends at the tavern. And so they had surveillance video of them in the tavern, so they know what time they approximately left the tavern at. And that was on, again, August the 13th, 2021. Their bodies were found at their campsite in the South Mesa area of the LaSalle Mountains on August the 18th by Kylen's friend, who is also her boss at the Moonflower Co-op. Now, you probably remember that's where Brian and Gabby got into their altercation. That was the Moonflower Co-op. And she found them around 11:30 a.m. that day. Both women had failed to show up for work, which was apparently really unusual for Crystal from what everything said. I didn't really see anything saying that it was unusual for Kylen, but I assume they were probably both pretty punctual women. Crystal was employed at McDonald's and had always been punctual. As I said, it stated that specifically that she had always been punctual. Everything that I've seen about this case has stated that Crystal was always really punctual, and her boss was the one that called police and was like, she didn't show up for work today. Something has to be wrong because she's always here, and I haven't been able to get in contact with her either. So, she's like, there's something really wrong. And then she also called, I believe she called Kylen's boss, and Kylen's father had also been trying to get in touch with Kylen and had not been able to get in touch with her. So he called, well, I think he had called the police to try to report her missing, and they're like, oh, she's probably just not picking up her phone or whatever, you know how they do. But actually, from what I read a while ago, I believe they did have a running report of them as being missing, and they had searched the mountains and not been able to find anything because they did not know where their campsite was, whereas Kylen's boss and friend had a general idea of where they were camping. From what I understand, she drove down a road and went down a couple of different areas where she had known them to camp in the past and didn't see them at any of them, and she was going back out the road and went to go past this one road, and she was like, oh, well, maybe they chose to camp here because maybe they did move their camp because of this creepy dude or whatever. And she went down that road and she saw one of them's vehicle, and she saw a rabbit that they had with them in a cage, which they often took with them. And generally, they're in the camp, the rabbit's out and about. They put it in the cage whenever they leave the camp. And then she saw a body in the creek, and she got back in her vehicle, drove back out to the main road, and called the sheriff's office to let them know. And if you heard that or not, probably not, hopefully. Anyway, but yes, so she found them around 11:30 in the morning. It would be, I can't even imagine that. I mean, she didn't, from what I understand, she wasn't like, is that them? You know, she was like, oh my gosh, there's a body. I hope that's not them. And then she got in her car and drove out. And I believe she was texting Kylen's dad on the way and being like, I think I may have found them. I don't want to tell you, or something like that. And he told her to call the sheriff's office, and she's like, I am calling them, you know. And she called them and reported it. Anyway, get myself all emotional. So, someone, somewhere, as with every single crime in existence, has to know who murdered these two ladies. So please do the proper thing and help their families and friends get justice for the loss of these two wonderful women. That ends my vlog for tonight. Please join me this Thursday, which will be December the 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve, for my first Thinking Thursdays vlog. I plan to come up with some much needed positive thoughts for that series, which will take the place of my Masked Singer US vlogs until the next season begins. I need some positive thoughts. The holiday time is really hectic and crazy, and I probably should have started doing some sort of more positive things sooner. My name of my vlog, of course, is Positive Sib, and I started doing it because I was fairly depressed, and I'm like, I'm just going to talk about what's on my mind and get stuff off my chest and post stuff that I think is cute and funny and whatnot and the other, and share that with people to try and help other people as well as myself be more positive. And I really steered away from that. I mean, in my opinion, The Masked Singer is a positive thing, except for the fact that I hardly ever get anyone right, but it's still fun to watch, and it's very entertaining, and it's fun for me to do the vlogs about that. And these, of course, cases concerning murders and missing people and stuff is kind of stressful and depressing for me. So a good refresher, a good way for me to relieve that stress of dealing with talking about these cases, and hoping that people, that people just care about these people and these cases and try and help to solve them. And like, I'm not saying go out to these sites and get yourself killed trying to find evidence to help solve the crime. I'm just saying, if you've heard anything or seen anything, make sure, don't be like, oh, I'm sure somebody else already told them that. Tell them yourself, because if 5 people tell them that there was a black Ford 4-wheel drive pickup with a bright red camper shell that was seen going down the road or coming out the road or doing both or whatever, then that makes it more credible. You know what I'm saying? So don't be the one to be like, well, I'm sure somebody else already told them that. Tell them yourself. I mean, this case has a $10,000 reward being offered for information that will lead to the arrest and conviction of the person or people who did this. So be honest. Tell what you know if you know something. Anyway, as I was saying before I got caught up in that, that does conclude my vlog for tonight. And please tune in to watch the Thinking Thursday ones. I'm going to try to post some old vlogs. I'm babysitting my grandson still. I have applied for a job right now. I'm currently still unemployed and still have no vehicle of my own. So, but I'm still fairly busy, especially with watching my grandson. It's the thing that keeps me the most busy. But he's a delight. He's the joy of my life. And he's just awesome. He's one in the beatboxing baby video. If you've not seen it, check it out. He's a little cutie, I'm telling you, and the best behaved baby that I have ever known. And I had some kids that were pretty well behaved when they were babies, so that's saying a lot. But anyway, until then, everyone have a great whatever time of night or day it is in your part of the world. Stay safe and stay positive. And I never had my mouse ready to end my vlog at the end of my vlog. I hope you all enjoyed the vlog, got some new information from it, some stuff that you can use, and I hope that somebody will come forward with information that will resolve this case for the families and friends of these two dear sweet ladies. Thank you.